Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. We are carrying straight on with these chapters and continuing the journey into the start of Elbaf. Kind of a slower chapter this time around. It's got a pretty quick resolution, I feel, because I think the shift is going to happen where we've skipped the journey, had a little bit of fun here, and we're just going to go straight into what the island of Elbaf actually holds for the Straw Hats. So let's just get stuck into this. Without further ado, chapter 1129, Living Dolls. So we continue with the cover story requests, and we now have Yamato's pilgrimage carrying on, and she has reached Amigasa village, and she is meeting up with Tama, Shinobu, and obviously Komichio. She is sat on top while Tom is learning how to throw like shurikens and stuff at a target. So nice to see we're getting all these characters along the way, seeing what they're up to, while the Straw Hats have left since. So kind of nice. But anyway, last we had left off, the young group of the Straw Hats, the ones who were taken captive and put inside this Lego brick world, had all regrouped and were sort of exploring around this area. What sort of was the setup? They met like villagers, and they received a warning to not go down this very dangerous road where these rabid deities or guardians were, and immediately Luffy charges down that road, smashing into glass and shattering out what looks to have been a like prison that was keeping them inside this block world. And they saw Chopper and the other animals on the outside in this sort of like workshop sort of settlement before all hell broke loose and they set it all on fire and Luffy punched a snake. And this sun god deity that was being warned about was this Leshen looking dude with like a deer skull. He had a massive staff with a sun on it, a shield, and they were entering the room as all hell broke loose. And they are chasing after the Straw Hats now, who have jumped back into the Lego world, had took control of or recruited Ishkat, the cat god, the deity, and are now proceeding to run back into the Lego world, is where we left it. And we pick right up in the chaos of that world. So all the villagers who are here, all the probably human beings, because we've got the inkling that this sun god is a giant. So everyone who populates this world is going to be a regular sized human. And they are absolutely just paralyzed seeing the sun god. They can't comprehend it, and they look behind and they see these flames, and they are immediately in panic because the sky is falling. It's the end of the world. You know, Ragnarok is here. It is awful. And immediately we have the sun god saying, you know, I'll never forgive you for this, you living dolls. You have demolished my room, temple, and you know, my poor pet, servants. So already this person is letting their character slip a bit. They're not who we think they are, and they clearly are fantasizing about this temple and servants that they've created in this space. So this seems to be a bit of a one-man project type of situation. But all the Straw Hats are in agreement that this dude is bad news. He is very scary. We just need to get to the other side of this Lego country. And we understand like its design now. So on the back of Ishkat, they are barreling through the town, jumping over buildings, just escaping. And Luffy says something very nice. He's like, "Look, there's a lot of hard work that went into all this. So let's try and not destroy it. You know, they've really spent some time on it." Immediately as Ishkat slams down and just breaks half the road in the building. But the sun god is trying to get the cat to stop. And like, why are you aiding them? And, you know, it just keeps running because it's the end of time. Usopp saying, he's like, "Look, thanks to this cat, we're able to escape what's coming. So let's keep him on our side." But in the moment of this escape, Nami was reading these blueprints and just immediately tosses them. And Usopp is like, "What are you doing? That was like our chance. That was our blueprints." And she went, "Oh no, I've memorized them. I already know." She said, "Look, like, do you see where the tree is? Like the other side. That's actually a mirror as well. We've been contained to make it think like the horizon stretches for miles that we can't see it, but you can actually make out a door there." And they look and they're like, there's like a little sheen, and they go, "Oh yeah." So they're clearly heading towards this door. The clouds are just made of like cotton balls, and the Sanji and Zoro are like, "This place is designed to look expansive, but it's only made to seem that way. It's not actually as big." And Nami's like, "Yeah, well, we're actually like back at the center of this world," and we see a drawing, a depiction of the room layout that must have been on the blueprint. We see that in the room, like a third of the room at the bottom is that workshop where there is now a lying snake and the bird, the crow, and like the animals. And then the other 2/3 of the room are this Lego brick country that's being built. There's like the forest, there's the mirrors, there's the great tree, and we get a big X in the middle of where the Straw Hats currently are, trying to escape. They are halfway, and the Sun God is furious at this point and says, "Right, I can't believe you've seen those blueprints. You know, that shows everything in this realm. You know, this is a place that I have created. This is my realm, and you know, this place before was a giant detention center. So this was a giant's prison. So the whatever this room setup originally was, it was to house things that the giants were holding prisoner." And in some weird way, the Sun God like brings out like a lattice work and pulls from the staff a net. And obviously, we know what happens here. He slams down and captures the cat and all of the Straw Hats in this large net. And he says, you know, this facility was designed to ensure that no giant would escape. So if there was a giant held prisoner, this room was designed so a giant couldn't escape it. And the Straw Hats have already broken through one wall and they're aiming for the next. So we'll see where this goes. But he's like, "Look, this like metal wired net, you don't have a chance to get through, let alone the wall on the other end is just a dead end. There is no way through." And everyone's in a panic. And immediately the net is shattered from Zoro and Sanji doing a sort of joint attack to just rip apart the net. Immediately, like, the Sun was like, those were metal wires? Like, what? But they see, look, he's like, it's beside the point, you know, resistance is futile, you know, ahead of you is the domain of the Ear God, the mighty Ear God, you'll never beat them. And then a few of the villagers like, "Mighty Sun God, about the Ear God, those are his bones." They've been cooked. So, obviously the reference to Luffy and Sanji and Zoro already having beaten the giant bunny. And he's like, is that possible? That carnivorous rabbit was killed? Like, my bunny? And he's like, he starts to laugh, like, hysterically, and he's like, this is magnificent, this is wonderful, this world of Marvel that I have created, a grand tale is unfolding in this miniature garden, and it's happening before my very eyes. I underestimated them. This is giving me goosebumps. And he's like, evil has spawned, and heroes are being born in the world. History is being made. This is the beauty of my living dolls. A minimalistic world, and it's all mine. So they're very selfish and thinking they've created all this. But everyone is like, look, we just need to get out of here. We just need to run. And then the Straw's like, what's he laughing about? Is he okay? And then he starts to talk about, it's live drama, it's a play that's in the palm of my hand, it's in my control. And he screams, he's like, High Ruden may recognize you, but I don't. So let's see what you do next. So, pause here. High Ruden. Long time ago, High Ruden was a giant in the Giant Warrior Pirates. They knew he was the captain. And obviously, during the time skip, was a part of the Buggy mercenary group, and then subsequently ended up on Dressrosa in the Colosseum, where then at the end he bent the knee to Luffy and joined the Grand Fleet. He wanted to follow Luffy and what he was capable of, and as the captain, the Giant Warrior Pirates followed. This person, however, doesn't seem to have the same opinion. He's like, High Ruden, my captain may want to follow you, but you haven't proved it to me. And immediately we see Usopp's first attack of Elbaf. He does the lethal green scar skull bomb straight at the wall, the tree in the distance. And all he's able to do is shatter the mirror. And he's like, I've broke the mirror, but that wall is seriously tough. And Luffy's like, just leave it to me. It's fine. So we can pretty much guess what happens here. But we see that this character of the Sun God is like, this is such a brilliant chapter. I can't get enough of these weaklings struggling against fate. Their bitter failures, their despair, only showcases their humanity. Setbacks and disappointments, they are the core of character development. Is this Oda trying to be slightly meta in what's happened and maybe what's to come? He talks about what a chapter, what a chapter we've been having, what a run of chapters we've had. But he's like, you're weak and you're struggling against fate that is out of your hands. And, your humanity is shown by all the losses, all the despair, all your setbacks and disappointments are where your character development is coming from. So, whether that's hinting at some setbacks down the road that are coming in disappointments that are going to spare some character development. Because I was trying to think about this the other day, and for me, logically, the only reason why Oda might want to split the group here is because I feel like the ones who are here currently, all the young ones, have still got room for growth. They still are, Zoro still wants to become the strongest swordsman. Sanji is still developing and growing with the Germa body he sort of developed. Luffy's still got so much room to grow with now Gear 5. Nami and Chopper as well. I feel like these Straw Hats are the ones who are going to show the most growth in the next arc or two to come. Whereas Jinbei, Robin, Frankie and Brook are already pretty strong. They're much older. They've had much more time and experience. Yes, Robin developed a new form. But Brook, Frankie, Jinbei, do they really need new additions? I would love to see it. I would love for Brook to do like an awakening of his revive fruit. I would love for Frankie to full on out kit himself. That's what Egghead could have been, but certain elders got in the way. Jinbei is so strong. Like, the dude was a warlord. He knows Fishman karate. Like, there's not other ways he could develop, just train more, I guess. So whether these setbacks and disappointment that's being referenced here is specifically to this group here who are going to go through the most changes to grow as characters. But who knows? He says it's folly, it's comical. The Sun God is like, you just watch, your efforts are for nothing, but I am glad you made it this far. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Chopper, Sanji. And they're all like, wait, how does he know our names? And we see Luffy's like, look, doesn't matter. I'm going to punch through this wall with just a little bit of Gear 4th. So already a bit of development here. Luffy doesn't go into a full Gear 4 form. He just makes his arm Gear 4. So he winds back his punch and he sends it flying back behind him as they continue forward. Fully coated in like the King Kong gun, but just the arm. And we see, as Sanji and like Zoro watch, Nami turns to Usopp and goes, just hypothetically, if there was like a natural disaster, no one's to blame for that, right? And Usopp's like, well, of course, like earthquakes, floods, storms, those things just happen. They're no one's fault. And Nami's like, oh, good, because, this guy's put us through a lot of crap and he's really pissed me off. So I'm going to let my rage kind of go a bit. And Sanji kicks in again, starting to be a more comical character at this point, being like, oh, I totally understand your rage. He's got like a grimace on his face, like, you show him, Nami. And they're like, just get a grip, like, what are you doing? But we have the Sun God declaring some divine retribution is coming. And the character goes into a flashback, and this is where we find out who it was. They've already referenced Hiruden, so it wasn't a big leap to try and work out the connection, but we get the confirmation pretty quickly that in the flashback, the giant crow is what brought the Sunny to this person. They bring the Sunny down aboard this dude's ship or wherever this dude was, and it turns out to be none other than Road, the navigator of the giant warrior pirates. And he's immediately freaking out, like, how are the Straw Hats here? Like, weren't they with the other giant warrior pirate? They were, like, guiding them, like, here? Like, what's going on? He's like, something must have happened. They came from Egghead, so they went through the sleeping mist belt. This is it. And we see a moment where Hiruden has, like, just said that they're going to follow the Straw Hats, part of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. And he's furious. He's like, seriously? Are we going to do that? And he's like, this is awesome. Hiruden joined you all on his own. And he wanted us to save you. Like, as if Elbaf houses the strongest warriors. We do not follow such itty-bitty humans. And he's like, hasn't he got a shred of pride? So he's looking at Luffy and he's looking at Nami and he's obsessed with Nami. But he's like, you are tiny. And he like syringes more gas and he puts them back asleep. And he's like, you just wait for what's in store. And he's like, I have you and you have no clue where you are. Stay and run wild here because you will serve me. Now, he's got this god complex, which is super weird. But he is caught off guard immediately by a giant thundercloud appearing in the space. And Nami saying, Zeus, he's all yours. And a giant thunderbolt absolutely annihilates him. And he goes down. And we see Luffy saying, look, I hate to have to do this, but goodbye, Block Country. It's time for us to leave. And his hand has stretched all the way across back to the other side of the room, the full distance. And everyone sort of has their moments of like, they get ready, like they've got the stuff, and they're like, right, serves you right, you've been dealt with, it's time for us to leave. Usopp's like, please be Elbaf, please be Elbaf, please be Elbaf. But Luffy absolutely annihilates this wall, and they celebrate, and we end the chapter with Luffy's face in awe and amazement of what he sees in front of him. No break next week, so I think we are here at Elbaf. It would be cool if not, but I don't think we're going to have that sort of interlude. I think this is Elbaf now, and we are carrying on with the full arc of the giant island in front of them, because they are going to be tiny on this island, so I can't wait. But let me know what you thought of the chapter. Let me know if you think they are arriving at Elbaf here. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.